This is episode 11, titled A Virtual Walking Tour of the Discovery Center, with your host, Samantha Richter, on the Nature All Around Me podcast. This podcast is sponsored by the Sanders Tech Ed Foundation. This is Samantha Richter, COO of the Agua Hedionda Lagoon Foundation. Nature All Around Me invites persons of all ages and backgrounds to ground themselves in the environment that the Agua Hedionda Lagoon provides through experiential learning. Like I said earlier, today we're going to do a walkthrough of the Discovery Center where I will be explaining and you listening to what it would be like if you were here at the Discovery Center in person. So take a seat, relax, and pretend and envision your taste of nature. So first off, here I am standing in the main room of the Discovery Center, which is called the Rotunda. I'm underneath a chandelier right in the middle, and to my left or right, depending on the way you're looking, is our most popular exhibit, which is our Reptile City. Before I get to exhibits, which is our main attractions at the Discovery Center, I wanted to give you a little bit of history about the building that I'm standing in. We like to tout ourselves, the Agua Hedionda Lagoon Foundation, as one of the first recycled buildings. Don't quote me on that because I don't know the history of recycled buildings, but this is, in fact, a recycled building. This center was originally the planned community of Aviara's retail sales center when they were developing that community. So underneath the chandelier was the large map that home buyers came by and said, I want lot 11, I want lot 171, so on and so forth. When they sold other lots and they were done with the building, they offered it to a few nonprofits, and our president at the time, Bob Richards, came in and said, we'll take it. So we got the building donated. It was trucked across what is now Faraday in 3 different sections, and that's still very easy to see today because we have 3 different HVAC units that follow those building separation pieces. And this building was put on Agua Hedionda Lagoon Foundation's land. This land was also donated by the Kelly family, which is a prominent ranching family in Carlsbad. There's Kelly Elementary, there's Kelly Street. Lots and lots of history there. And so we got the building donated, the land donated, and that was kind of our humble beginnings. So if you're here, and I'll walk you through that a little bit later through our history hall, this is the main central point underneath the chandeliers where we like to start, and you look out and see the beautiful overview of the lagoon. In this main rotunda room is our, once again, most popular attraction, Reptile City, which, as you guessed it, has various forms of reptiles there. Also has amphibians. We have a tarantula, which is an arachnid, and close to Reptile City, one mammal guinea pig. So these animals are our animal ambassadors. They are the main attraction for when visitors and guests come by, and they are used as educational tools in all of our various programming. Kids love to be able to hold a snake. They love to be able to look at the tarantula. They love the crested gecko, and so on and so forth. We also teach pet responsibility with these animal ambassadors because almost all of them were relinquished pets to us. So they are living their second life as being animal ambassadors for educational purposes and pet responsibility. We have a variety of native and non-native species so that we can compare the different lifestyles, behavior, habitats, diet between these different species. And most of the natives don't like to be held. So the non-natives really are stars of the show for the kids that want to come in here and hold a snake and take a picture with it. Across from our Reptile City is our Discovery Center aquariums. They are cold water aquariums, and they are all native to the lagoon and ocean beyond. We have a touch tank that reveals the intertidal zone and the animals that live there, such as sea stars, sea anemones, hermit crabs, sea snails, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have a few larger habitats that have opali, sea bass, a lobster, and some different types of animals that come and go. These aquariums also have what I like to call humble beginnings. The tanks were donated from UCSB. The whole installment and beginning of them were two Carlsbad High School graduates that put these together when they graduated college, which was right around that recession time. So this was their job, and they knew our current CEO, Lisa Rodman, and put these together. So 10 years later, they're still here. The touch tank is a very popular attraction and once again is used in our various environmental lessons. And we do have a little baby horn shark in there that kids love to feed. So it's a fun time for all. Walking outside of the rotunda reveals our patio that I kind of mentioned earlier. And continuing on, this is where we see the beautiful view of the Agua Hedionda Lagoon. Agua Hedionda actually means stinky water, which is when it was first inhabited by the native Luiseño Americans. It was not dredged. It was a very mud flat, which is why it was called stinky water. So this patio that I'm currently standing on, if you can picture yourself here, we do have one corridor to the left, Cannon Road, which is a popular drive-by. It's also how we get the most amount of visitors that come through here. They say, I drive by this every single day on Cannon, and I never come in. And here they are, and they get to explore the lagoon and Discovery Center. We look at a preserve from the patio. So California Department of Fish and Wildlife has a preserve that can never be developed on, and that is because there are 3 endangered bird species there. The least bell's vireo, as well as the gnatcatcher and the sandpiper. Beyond that is the lagoon's water, which is open for recreation. You can kayak, you can paddleboard, you can boat, a few other devices on there. And then we also look at what is soon to be gone, the NRG power plant stack, kind of an iconic Carlsbad monument that is about to be taken down because they no longer need that power generating facility. On our patio, we also have many interpretive educational signage that explains who we are, open spaces, the watershed, and some various species that are present here. So you can imagine sitting here. It's a beautiful place for a snack. It's a beautiful place for a rental. It's a beautiful place for our kids to enjoy and be in nature. To the left of our patio is our pollinator garden, which is a newly installed exhibit. I say new, May 2019, and this garden was installed by Thermo Fisher Scientific interns as well as employees for an annual outreach day. We've worked with Thermo Fisher Scientific over the years in a variety of different areas, but they continue to come year after year and put in an effort to beautify our nature center. So I'm staring at the pollinator garden, which it is winter, so it's a little bit dormant right now. It really comes to life in the spring and summer times. Has different varieties of monkey flower, yarrow, and milkweed. The idea was that we would bring pollinators, which we did as soon as we planted that milkweed. And this summer, we actually released about 60 monarch butterflies back into the wild, where they came in, laid their eggs on the milkweed. Caterpillars arrived. We took the caterpillars inside, made sure they were healthy, free of predators. They crystallized, and then we re-released the butterflies. So that was the vision of the pollinator garden, and it really came to life. We also see hummingbirds, bees, other types, yellowtail, swallowtail, butterflies, and other types of pollinators that come and utilize this area. And future exhibit in this pollinator garden that I am staring at would be in front of a Torrey pine tree is an observation beehive. We work with a lot of Boy Scouts and Eagle Scouts for their projects, and we have an Eagle Scout that is in his final build of a very, very nice large observation beehive that we will be adding to this area. So stay tuned, and if you can't picture an observation beehive, it's going to have glass panels so you can actually see the bees working and making their honey, and we'll have some interpretive and educational signage as well. As I'm stepping through this pollinator garden, part of it, which was not Thermo Fisher Scientific, we had a few community churches and members put together these beautiful mosaics that provide the stepping stones to the garden, and that leads you along to the patio as well, and the mosaics represent different species present here. Beyond Pollinator Garden is our newest exhibit, which is the Sanders Pond. And I mention that because the Sanders Tech Ed Foundation is the sponsor of this podcast and is the naming rights of this new exhibit. What this pond is going to be is a new home for our 2 red-eared sliders that are currently in Reptile City, as well as our goldfish, who is also in the kids' corner in the great room, and they will be in a nice outdoor, large, protected pond. It is currently in the middle of construction and will include a outdoor seating area so people can come by and sit, enjoy the view, and enjoy the offerings of Sanders Pond. Coming back inside the Discovery Center, we just left the Pollinator Garden, making our way through the main doors, past the gift shop, into our next exhibit, which is more for the adults in our crowd, is our History Hallway. This History Hallway was developed by an intern about 4 years ago that we had a box full of stuff of historical documents and photos, and she sorted through it, made a timeline, and so there's this nice timeline surrounding our hallway from the lagoon's beginnings, which was the native Luiseño inhabitants, all the way up until today. So it has both the foundation's highlights as well as some Carlsbad and things happening around the lagoon, like the power plant, the desalination plant, development, preserve, etc., etc. One large point I want to make for our history is Caulerpa taxifolia. Many of you might not know what that is. It is killer algae. So in 2000, there was a strain of killer algae, Caulerpa taxifolia, found in the lagoon. It is a genetically modified piece of algae, so it's for aquarium species. And how it got there was someone dumped their aquarium down a storm drain adjacent to the lagoon, and it came and inhabited the lagoon. It is in different areas, such as Huntington Beach, parts of the Mediterranean, as well as Australia. And Agua Hedionda Lagoon is the only body of water that has eradicated it. How this happened was when it was found, the Agua Hedionda Lagoon Foundation became the fiscal agent for all the federal and state grants, which was about $600,000 to $700,000 to eradicate it. A group of divers and volunteers went out and tarped the lagoon, and one by one tarps filled it full of chlorine, and that killed the algae. It also killed the native species there, but only 33% of the lagoon was covered in this killer algae, so they were able to come back. Took 6 years, 2000 to 2006. Parts of the lagoon had to be cordoned and closed off, but it was still open every day. So it didn't completely shut down. And that is a very, very large part of our history, how it also established the beginnings of the Foundation's Native Garden, Academy of Environmental Stewardship, and exhibits, because we were able to keep about $100,000 of that. So a very large point in the Lagoon Foundation's history, the lagoon itself's history, as well as the world, because this algae is on the top 100 invasive species. It's banned across the United States. And like I said earlier, we are the only body of water that it has been eradicated from. What it does is it changes the entire ecosystem because it takes over all the native plants. There's no native plants. There's no ground for the fish to spawn in, and then there's no fish, and then there's no birds because they can't eat the fish. So it's a very top-up process. Entering the great room from the hallway is our next room and exhibit area. This includes Native American exhibits, a kids corner, as well as a Kelly Ranch facade, and that goes back to the Kelly family that I talked about earlier. It gives a history as well as some ranch-like displays, and the brand of the Agua Hedionda, which was what was branded on the cattle, is also displayed there. New to this room is mastodon bones. We used to have these about 10 years ago on exhibit. The San Diego Natural History Museum currently had them on display, and on January 6th, they arrived at the Discovery Center. So we now have a mastodon bone exhibit that we get to have these bones on lend for 2 years. It has a little bit about where they were found, and which is Carlsbad and Oceanside, and the different history of those. So it's an exciting thing for us. It took us about 4 years to get those back here, and we are lucky that they will be able to be on display for 2 years. Leaving the great room, next is our aquaponics exhibit. Aquaponics is the mixture of aquaculture and hydroponics. Aquaculture is raising fish. Hydroponics is raising plants in the water. Combine those together and you get aquaponics. This is a new exhibit installed September 2020 with funding from the Rancho Santa Fe Garden Club. So it was a grant that we got and were able to build this project. The goal is that we will raise enough lettuce that we won't have to buy lettuce for those animal ambassadors inside. So it's a working form of sustainability, and it's also a great educational tool for our various programs. When we have 7th graders here, we actually let them test the water, the nitrogen levels, the ammonia levels, and it's a very interactive exhibit for them. Across from the aquaponics, we have our learning island, which is another very popular exhibit here. And I will tell you the star of the show is Piper the pig. Piper is a type of potbelly pig. She's a miniature Giuliani, and she's only here part-time as she is one of our employees' personal pigs. But she is an exhibit here, and she hangs out with Torty, which is a 10-year-old desert sulcata tortoise, and they have a pen together. People get to feed them, they get to pet them, and it's a very, very popular exhibit. And it's next to a little Arctics, which kind of match the mastodon bones, as well as a paint easel, as well as a little nature library. So it's a very crowded exhibit of a lot of different things, but kids love it, and there's a lot to do, and it provides outdoor education for them. Moving to the left of our learning island is our outdoor educational nodes, which is where our preschool playdates program, our Academy of Environmental Stewardship, and after-school program are all held. These nodes are shaded. Many of them were built by Eagle Scouts. Some shading was provided by Shizebo, and this was an effective capital campaign that was ran in 2017 to get these all built. To give you an idea of the kids that are here, we have a preschool playdates program that has about 60 different preschoolers throughout the week. We have an after-school program that has about 22 different kids, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we have Academy of Environmental Stewardship, which is a 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 7th grade science field trip program that in the 2019 and 2020 slated year was going to have 10,599 students come through the program. So the outdoor educational nodes, outdoor educational classrooms are very, very heavily populated with all of the different kids coming through our programs. Lastly, coming off of the outdoor educational classrooms is our Discovery Center Trail. This trail is a 1/4 mile long. If you come back, 1/2 mile. So it's short, but it's mighty. It features a vernal pool, which is a seasonal and very rare type of pool in San Diego. There's only about 2,500 of them. and that it's only there when it rains. So it's seasonal, not every year. It brings a lot of migratory birds, as well as the San Diego fairy shrimp, tidewater goby, and then some different other species as well. Along the trail, we do have placards that have the different native species, as well as we use it every single day for these kids that come here. They get to go get all their energy out on the Discovery Center Trail. We do have other trails that are on the northern shore of the lagoon that are not off of the Discovery Center site, but there's about 3.1 miles there. So I hope that you enjoyed this virtual tour. I did want to talk about one more exhibit. I know I said last leaf with the Discovery Center Trail, but this is an exhibit that, as you're listening to this, is not here yet, but will be. It is called Raptor Ridge on Cannon Road. It is going to feature 4 native raptors, which is a great horned owl, a screech owl, an American kestrel, and a peregrine falcon. They are going to be around the Discovery Center, and they are all birds that cannot survive in the wild as they have injuries. So they will be our newest animal ambassadors. And we really look forward to the different educational opportunities this will provide, as well as just time for guests and visitors to come and learn and look and really mesmerize and appreciate these birds of prey, as they are a pretty big icon of San Diego. So we're really excited for that. And as maybe we'll do another virtual tour and I can walk through them because we don't have spaces for them yet. They are coming. So once again, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you were able to get a taste of nature, although virtually and only listening, but you can imagine the different opportunities we have here, as well as all the educational activities we provide. With that, I invite you to come by the Discovery Center and I can walk you through this tour in person so you can see all these exhibits, as well as if you have any questions, feel free to, pop in and ask me at any point. If you check out our website, www.aguahedionda.org, it has a little bit of detail and photos on these websites, as well as all the different activities and new exhibits we are doing. Additionally, if you go to natureallaroundme.org, which is our podcast page, you can 1, subscribe to the podcasts, or 2, there's a little blue button that you can leave us a voice memo or question if you have any comments on this tour. Catch us where you get all your major podcasts.
Produced by Heard Not Seen Media. Visit imaginepodcasting.com for more information.